So if you're a Catholic and you're somewhat active on social media, you'll know that over the past few days, people have just been absolutely crashing out over this. Welcome back to Cultivating Truth. I'm your host, Robert. Thank you again for watching. So again, people are just absolutely crashing out over the Pope blessing this block of ice. And for me, I'm just looking at it like, well, okay, number one, priests bless all sorts of things. Priests bless homes, they bless cars, they bless your rosary, they bless little crosses and crucifixes, they even have blessed firearms. We just had the feast of St. Francis, and a lot of people got their dogs and pets blessed. They bless all sorts of things. A blessing is simply a priestly prayer where we're taking a common object or a person and we're asking for God's grace and favor to be conferred onto this thing, right? Whether it be a home, may God watch over this home, guard it, protect it, and right, keep darkness out of it, sort of a thing. And this is why, we would use sacred objects that have been blessed, like holy water, blessed salt, these sorts of things. They're basically, the way I kind of thought about it was like that holy water, it's like a physical prayer. So when you sprinkle yourself with holy water, you're like sprinkling a prayer on yourself. I think that's really cool. Prayers aren't just things we utter or even think. They're things that we can even flick onto ourselves. It's just an interesting thought. I love it. I love the embodied incarnational reality of the faith that Catholicism has. This is cool stuff. Again, this is cool stuff. Pun intended in the case of the Pope blessing this block of ice. This is literally cool stuff. And so people are just absolutely crashing out. Now, I get it. In some ways, it's like this kind of cringy, boomer kind of ceremony about global warming kind of a thing. I get it, all right? One thing I wanted to talk about here is the church and the environment. And becoming a Catholic, I found the teaching of the church regarding the environment so incredibly helpful and guiding and good. Within Protestantism, there's kind of a confused view about this. Protestants, and the reason why so many people were crashing out about the Pope and the blessing of the ice is because there's so much conflation between conservative, right-wing American politics and the Christian faith. There's like this weird conflation of the two, where it's like, oh, the Pope's he's on the side of the left, as if protecting the planet and being a good steward is a left-wing thing. Just think about it. The first conservationists just here in America, like Teddy Roosevelt, they were on the right. They were conservatives. That's why it was called a conservationist movement. They want to conserve these beautiful lands, like out there at Yellowstone and the various parks that we now get to go to and enjoy because somebody conserved it and we didn't just put a strip mall there, right? So because of the conservationist movement, which again, it's right there in the word, it's conservative, we get to enjoy these beautiful sites. So my point in all of this, and actually Francis Schaeffer made this similar sort of point in his book back in, I think it was the 60s, that this isn't a left or right issue. This is a Christian responsibility issue. So I'd like to turn just briefly to the Catechism of the Catholic Church regarding this because it gives us a kind of guideline regarding this matter. The seventh commandment enjoins respect for the integrity of creation. Animals, plants, and inanimate beings are being by nature designed for the common good of past, present, and future humanity. Use of the mineral, vegetable, and animal resources of the universe cannot be divorced from respect for moral imperatives. Man's dominion over inanimate and other living beings granted by their Creator is not absolute. It is limited by concern for the quality of life of his neighbor. including generations to come. It requires a religious respect for the integrity of creation. Animals are God's creatures. He surrounds them with his providential care. By their mere existence, they bless him and give him glory. Thus men owe them kindness. We should recall the gentleness with which saints like St. Francis of Assisi or St. Philip Neri treated animals. God entrusted animals to the stewardship of those whom he created in his own image. Hence, it is legitimate to use animals for food and clothing. They may be domesticated to help man in his work and leisure. Medical and scientific experimentation on animals, if it remains within reasonable limits, is morally acceptable. Is a morally acceptable practice, since it contributes to the caring for or saving of human lives. It is contrary to human dignity to cause animals to suffer or die needlessly. It is likewise unworthy to spend money on them that should, as priority, go to the relief of human misery. One can love animals. One should not direct to them the affection due only to persons. So that is from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraphs 24:15 through 24:18. From the top, you see, what is this all based off of? It's coming out of the seventh commandment, namely, you shall not steal. And so how can one steal? You can steal from future generations by trashing a place like Yellowstone so that they can never enjoy it. By trashing a river so that people can no longer go and enjoy the river. You've robbed future generations of that enjoyment through your pollution. Very insightful. And I want to connect this to a video I recently took on one of my walks with my dog down one of our country roads here by our house that I usually take him on. Here's the video. One of my favorite times of day here, and that's walking this good old boy here, Thorin, Thorin Oakenshield. And we have a nice little country walk by our home. And I love to come down here. We come down to the creek. And there's certain things, I habitually will do on my walk. I got my rosary with me. And so I just pray, sing the rosary usually. And come down to the creek. This is usually our turnaround spot. Let's go to the other side. There's usually a lot of turtles, as you can see. I'm going to comment on that in a moment. Yeah, a turtle just jumped in the water there. It's right over there. Saw some really big ones. And there's a big crane that lives back in here as well. And on the other side, there's a beaver. And I can try to point it out. It's got a bunch of growth on the dam right now. But right there, that's a beaver dam. Right over there. That's a beaver dam. Now, one of the things that torques me, I love the South. This is one of the things that torques me about living here is people don't seem to care about the environment here. And I'm not, all global warming, woo-woo, all that stuff. I'm just talking about keeping things beautiful. Got some nice wildflowers here. It's lovely. It's a lovely fall morning, the start of October here. Lovely day for a walk. But if you can see, in the creek right there, that's somebody's love seat. This is not the first time this sort of thing has happened here. At one point there was like a car, somebody just left it here. Just left the car. There's been couches down here before, just random things. Let's see if I can still see them. Yeah, right here. There's somebody must have fired some shots at the beaver dam. Why? Are they going to make a pelt out of get the beaver's pelt and make a hat? No, They just wanted to shoot at the dam, I guess. Does that really make sense? I don't think so. And then spray painting a bunch of dumb stuff on the thing. Beer cans. Food. Maybe somebody was here fishing. They just leave their beer. There's a beer can floating in the creek. Just stuff like that. And this isn't just here. You know, I've got another buddy, and his property backs up to a creek, and there's like washer and dryers and stuff in the creek. It's like this southern thing. Just throw your crap in the creek. Or just on the side of the road. That's one of the things I've noted about living here is just all along the sides of the roads, there's just trash. People just throw trash out of their car left and right. And again, there's a difference between being, you know, some radical environmentalist and can we just not do this stuff? Beer cans in the creek. Beer cans just sitting there. Couches in the creek. Can we not do that? Is that radical? I don't think so. I think it's just loving your neighbor, right? So that people can enjoy the creek without having to see your rotting love seat sitting in there. I don't think that's too much to ask. Just some thoughts. So what we see in the video is just trash all over the place. Some idiot even threw his couch into the creek. And again, these are not one-offs. This has happened multiple times down there. Usually people have fished things out. I mean, I've seen just random, just bizarre objects down there. Like I said in the video, somebody had left a car. Somebody just abandoned a car down there. And just all sorts of random things like that. And it just ought not to be. And I've been told that just throwing random objects like that into creeks are just part of like the southern tradition here. I live in South Carolina. And so I've been told that that's just what they do here. It's like this weird tradition. I remember going to a friend's house and he has a creek at the back of his property. And there's all sorts of just random trash that people are throwing in the creek from the past and stuff that's even from the present that just floats on down. Like washers and dryers, barrels, just random objects people no longer want, throw it into the creek. It's just very bizarre. And so why is it like that? I'm originally from Wisconsin, and it's not like that. People don't do that up there. You don't have trash all along the sides of the roads up there in Wisconsin. You know, that's just how it is down here. One of the things I noticed that people always do for some reason here is along the interstate, people will throw their mattresses, I assume out of the back of their pickup trucks. They'll pull over to the shoulder and just throw the mattress. They'll just throw the mattress onto the side of the road or in the middle of the median area. Why? It's not like we don't have dumps. The dump is literally like 10 minutes from my house. And it's free. It's free. It's not like it costs anything but just a little bit of time and effort to take your mattress and take it to the dump. Nobody's going to charge you. It's really bizarre. So I don't know why it's like that. The only thing I can really think of is like up in Wisconsin, there was more of a Lutheran and Catholic influence, whereas down here it's like Baptistic, so I guess a little more Gnostic. You don't really care about your surroundings as much. You don't care about beauty. I don't really know philosophically why it's like this down here, but it is. And you can't just blame like rednecks. There's rednecks everywhere, right? It never would occur to me to just fling trash out of my car, because in my mind, I'm just like, why would I do that? When I fill up at the gas station, I can put my trash in there, in the trash cans at the gas station. It's not that difficult. Or when I get home, I can put the trash in my trash bin, literally right on my patio outside. I don't have to throw it out of my car. I don't know why it would occur to somebody that that's a good thing to do. But as I said, for some reason, that's the norm here. To make it about that Catholic-Protestant divide, again, as a Catholic, we can have the church that actually speak to us on these matters. Whereas a Protestant, whose church can even do that? What church can speak, will even speak to the environmental matters, besides these completely blown out PCUSA type churches, right? And I want to note how balanced the catechism was there. On the one hand, we ought not to mistreat animals and just kill them and do horrible things to them for sport or just for the heck of it, right? This is part of like sportsman's etiquette, like hunting etiquette. If you're going to go shoot a deer, you have a duty to eat it, to use it at that point. If you just shoot a deer in the woods and it's like, man, I got him, and you high five your buddies, and leave it there, there's something deeply disordered about that. And that's what was going on with our friends who decided to just shoot at the beaver dam. There's something deeply disordered there, where you're just shooting an animal for fun. That's disordered. So on the one hand, we're called to care for animals and to be kind to them. But then on the other, it's not to an extreme where we're like, you can't use them for farming or for food or for those various sorts of things, or even scientific experimentation. Within certain parameters, the church is saying, yeah, that's actually acceptable. But also, we're not going to the excess of animal love where you see like these dog mommies today that see their dogs as their children. That is disordered as well. So there's ditches that the church is recognized are on both sides. You have the guy just randomly shooting at beaver dams for the fun of it. And then you have the dog mommies on the other end of the extreme. And the church is calling us to this happy median. And again, I deeply appreciate these sentiments from the Catholic Church. So, by way of summary here, the Catholic Church is able to provide a coherent Christian voice that can speak to these environmental issues. Whether or not global warming is a real threat, I happen to think that it's not. The fact that the church can stand up and say, we do need to care for the environment, is deeply comforting for me. That we can speak to these issues. Because this is a seventh commandment issue, as the church said. By destroying the landscape, by destroying certain areas, we are robbing future generations. I was robbed of the beauty of the creek by that knucklehead that threw his couch into the creek. He robbed me of the beauty of the creek by doing that, whoever that person may be. So again, whether or not somebody believes in climate change, like I said, I tend to think that that's largely a hoax and it's just a political scam. There still should be a pro-environmental position that Christians should take. And I'm so grateful that the Catholic Church is able to do that. I'm glad that the Pope can take a stand and take a meaningful stand and call us to be good stewards over the planet. I know it might be a little cringy or whatever, but I'm grateful, number one, that I have a priesthood that blesses things, and number two, that I have a church that can speak with a coherent voice and call us to be good stewards over the planet. So on that note, I'm grateful for Pope Leo and his stance for the environment there. May God bless you, and may Our Lady keep you.